DreamWorks' greatest movie ever, The Wild Robot. Is there more to the story than what we're seeing? Let's check this out. So the story is about a robot that crash lands on an island, and there's nothing but animals on this island. And the little curious otter wakes him up. It's interesting when they take a very common song like this and rework it. I mean, it's interesting, just that thought of the blessed daytime, but then they're calling the nighttime a sacred night. I mean, it's a common story, but I don't know. I probably wouldn't look too much into that. But that's kind of an interesting thing that they're playing in the background here. Of course, from the same people that brought How to Train Your Dragon. So what I notice is there's like a very rough environment, very, chaotic waves and wind and all this, but they're showing you some beautiful aspects of this. An egg symbolizes life. All right, so the robot is going to start to develop affection for this little baby chick because that chick came out of the shell and is imprinting on the robot. This fall, discover your true nature.
Sometimes to survive, we must become more than we were programmed to be.
So interesting. A robot is programmed, right? So the statement that they're making here is that the robot, in order to survive this wild environment, has to become more than it was programmed to be. Now just think about this spiritually, right? We were programmed to follow God. Like, that's kind of a slam on the creator, right? Because if that person programmed you, then what this movie's calling for is you need to be something greater than that. So that's kind of interesting. Did you notice the words that they put on the screen, though? They always do this in trailers. They'll put words up there that kind of give you the, like the sort of spirit of the film, if you would. This one says, discover your true nature. Now let's consider what's going on here. You have a robot that comes down, lands on this island, crash lands on this island. There's nothing else around that's like robots. And so this robot, who's used to being programmed and told what to do all the time, is now having to discover life on its own and can do whatever it wants, i.e. hence it's a wild robot. And that you're discovering your true nature is more than what your robot. Remember back in the Garden of Eden, that's exactly what Satan said, right? That there's something greater than what God designed you to be if you step out into the unknown. So that's kind of an interesting way to place this in that was the first teaser trailer. So let's take the second trailer. Sometimes I'll give you more information on the second one. Okay, very pristine, clean city.
Incident report. At 0300 hours, a number of Universal Dynamics robots were lost in a typhoon.
Lost robots?
Chance of recovery is unlikely.
Lost robots that will not be recovered. That's kind of an interesting idea, because spiritually thinking about this, we are on an island essentially in the universe, right? We're in this little cosmic space that is sort of got all these problems, right? Nowhere else in the universe has the problems that we have because we fell and we took the apple and we ate the sin. So basically, that's kind of an interesting parallel, that this robot crash landed, chance of recovery is 0, like Satan.
Processing language.
You need to learn how things work on this island.
Okay, so they're showing you this story of this little bird,
Hello.
and that the bird's got to leave the island, otherwise he's going to be destroyed.
Which would be you. Here is Mother now.
I do not have the programming.
No one does. He needs to swim and fly.
Swimming's easy. I can teach him the way my mom taught me. Swim! He's a runt. His chances aren't super good.
Okay, now this is really interesting. So this robot comes down, makes friends with this little gosling, and the gosling is supposed to learn how to fly so that it can migrate off it. If it doesn't, it's going to get destroyed, right? But then the robots find out that this one robot survived the crash landing. They send this one. Look at how they make that one robot kind of appear, right? Like, kind of like, hey, I've been looking for you. Now, what's this robot going to tell them?
You were not easy to find. You are defective. I feel fine.
That robot says, you are defective. And the reply is, I feel fine. I'm not defective. Listen to what it says in Revelation 3:17. Because you say, I am rich, I've become wealthy, I have need of nothing, and you don't even know that you are wretched, miserable, poor, blind, and naked. So that's the perspective that God finds his church, the Laodicean church, is like, they don't need to change, right? So this is kind of an interesting idea that this robot lands on this planet, starts to become more wild and dirty and all this, and it's like when told that it's a defective robot, the robot says, I don't need to change. That's kind of an interesting parallel. Let's continue on.
You should not feel anything at all.
Mom?
No!
Sometimes, to survive, we must become more than we were programmed to be.
So once again, this is really interesting. You can always see this imagery. Starts out with this kind of like heavenly, clean, pristine looking environment that is obviously not on the island, it's somewhere else, right? And the imagery that they're giving you with the spaceship and lifting him up out here is that wherever that home is, it's taking this robot back off of this planet. And you know, they're making this slam that the robot was programmed essentially to be a slave. That's why you show the robots cutting and doing all these kind of things. And that in order to survive, you need to become more than you were programmed, meaning you're not satisfied with who you are. There's something greater out there that you need to be. And they're using this story as a really interesting parallel because now they've shown you that this robot has developed feelings and cares. That's why they showed you the robot hugging all of the animals and stuff. But it's kind of an interesting parallel if you look at it like this mean robot, which I'm sure, I haven't seen this movie, are probably going to be a representation of God, and that wants to take the robot home and fix it and make it all nice again, and the robot doesn't want to, wants to stay here on this planet. Romans 12:2 says, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is the good and acceptable and perfect will. That is interesting. That I think that what this movie is going to do is really make a call for you don't need to change, and it's okay to be wild and explore the boundaries. And you know, if you were only programmed to stay within these boundaries, you need to see how far outside of that world that you can go.
I will protect all of you.
You are ordered to return home.
I am already home, and I am a wild robot.
Wow. I mean, if you just kind of consider that, yes, we live on planet Earth, but really, if you believe in God, at this moment, this is not our home, right? Even Jesus, he said, like, my kingdom is not of this world, right? His is somewhere else. And when Jesus comes again, those that follow and believe in him will be taken to heaven, right? So the idea of just like, I don't want to go home up there, this is my home here, seems like this is going to be yet another Gnostic story flipping the idea of God and Satan around and really celebrating wild, boundless, no laws and freedom from anybody programming you or telling you what to do. But I know a lot of people are going to think, but it's the most beautiful story. Just consider these things. Open your eyes. There's a major war going on around us. And this battle, we can see the influences that are playing into us making our decision if we want to follow God or if we want to follow the rebel of this earth. Thanks for watching.